Competing against us, that old-timey 1950s music right there. I'm Buddy Martin, the program tonight. Franz Beard and I will have a special guest. Jeffrey Meldon will have his special guest, Matt McCall. You might remember him from around these parts, certainly in the Ocala area. Billy Donovan's his assistant, the D1 coach. Matt is on his way driving home from his job, and he will be with us at the bottom of the hour. And then Jeffrey Meldon's Gator Hoopla, plus Lauren Meadows, all coming our way soon. So it's going to be a good night, and always starts good with the hat. I'm going to start calling him the hat. He's got the hat. Everybody knows the hat. I saw a picture the other day of just one person in the media room from behind, and I knew exactly who it was. This guy. Good-looking hat. Yeah, good choice. Good trip for you to get that hat. Well, Francis, unfortunately, the women could not hold on tonight. It seems to be a recurring theme. They get out there and get a chance. Led Oklahoma most of the way through three quarters, and then could not hold on and gave up the lead. And final score, I don't know what it was, 5 or 6, 7 points. And they just couldn't hold it, could they, France?
No, they can't. And he agreed. It is a recurring theme over the last 3 or 4 years. They get a lead, they do well, and then all of a sudden it falls apart at the end. And I don't know whether that's a cultural thing, basketball culture, whatever. But winners win. You know, that's one of the things I love about John Summerall. John Summerall comes in here. He's like Curt Cignetti. Curt Cignetti said they asked him a question at Indiana. He says, "I win. Google it." You know? And John Summerall comes in here and says, "I win."
Yeah. And
there is a confidence there. And I don't sense that confidence in our women's basketball program. I don't know if you do or not. I don't know if others.
No, I'm with you on that. I like Kelly Ray a lot, and I'm rooting for her. But, you know, you just got to win. That's the other thing. But tonight we're going to focus on a lot of positive stuff because there's so much to be positive about. Gator basketball team, the men's team was just tearing it up. Unbelievable. When you look at the numbers on the program tonight, well, in a little bit we'll have Matt McCall here, who works for NBC, and get his take on this from a different perspective. Matt will join us, and then we'll have Jeffrey Meldon, who knows everybody on the basketball team, knows everybody. I mean, and I want to get his take on Urban Klosvar, who's one of his favorite guys. He knows him personally, knows his family. All right, he'll be here, and then we got Lauren Meadows closing in. A little bit of news today in football. Looks like Trinidad Chambliss has got a 19th year, you know, the court ruled in his favor. So here we go, more on that. But right now I want to focus on one thing, and that is how good this basketball team is and can be. And friends, I've spent most of the afternoon putting together numbers, which you probably already knew. And any way you look at this team, they look terrific. And what's amazing we haven't nearly talked about is the defense.
Yeah.
They have put out there on the floor, put the clamp on these last 4 or 5 opponents. It's the lowest amount of points Georgia scored all year. They're averaging 20-point wins, and they didn't even play that great last night, friends. They had moments.
No, they didn't play great. But, you know, there's that old saying, defense travels. You know?
Yes, that's true.
And these guys have embraced their role as a defensive team that can run the floor and rebound. And, you know, I mentioned it, I think it was Monday night on the show. I said, you know, in some respects, maybe we ought to start giving the guy who misses a 3 an assist because so many of them get put back in.
Yeah, they really do because, they really, they are.
And you know, I was on another show this morning, and I was talking about there isn't a team in the country that's got 4 big guys that can run like Florida.
No.
All 4 of these guys can run. And that contributes to the defense. When you've got guys that can get a stop and you're instantly into your fast break mode and you're getting down the court ahead of people. And this is what they're doing. They're getting layups and, you know, quite frankly, You give me a choice between taking a three and getting a layup, I'll take the layup every time.
Yeah.
You don't miss too many layups or dunks. This team has embraced what Todd has declared this team to be. He says we're a defensive, rebounding, tough as nails, fast team.
You know, when you get a chance, I'd love to see you, and only you could do this, is write about how this team was constructed. You talked about it some today on the Rob Brown show on the SEC sidelines, but this team was put together in such a brilliant way, and not just a one night stand. You know, not an overnight sensation. They're good, and now they have a chance to be good again because they got players that can be here a couple of days, a couple of years. And the thing about it is, you guys mentioned this morning, when you get a 2-star or a 3-star, you make him into a 4-star or a 5-star, you got him for life almost. And we see Tommy Hoff as an example. Now, he probably will come out after this year because he's likely to be a top 10, 12, 15.
Yeah.
And he probably will. But, boy, is he fun to watch play. And he didn't have his best shooting night last night in the first quarter. But the thing about him I like is that he doesn't let it ruin the game for him. Even though he may not have but 2 buckets, you know, in the first half or less. That's about what he had. He doesn't play, the rest of his game doesn't suffer. He's still out there battling. He's out there blocking shots, making plays, cutting, running cuts, you know, and procuring the basketball, making plays. He is the ultimate playmaker on that team. I did love the play of the guards last night. My goodness, Xavier Lee, where did he come from with that shot? He was playing his best basketball. And we know about Klauser. So I don't know. I'll get your thoughts. And I'd really like you to drill down a little bit on Chenalou because he's a freak of nature, and you know him. He is like a microscope away from being number 1 in the nation in rebounding. Just like, I don't know, it's like a tenth of a point or something. And he has 20 rebounds last night. 20.
Yeah, third time this season he's had 20 rebounds in a game. You know, we haven't seen rebounding like this since a guy named Neil Walk, who was pretty darn good.
Yes, he was. Miami Beach, yeah. Mm-hmm. You're right, and but even Chenalou is more physical.
Oh,
yeah, he's so physical, and he's very smart, and he has a deft touch around the rim. His putbacks when he's on are as good as anybody. And he can take that ball and you know, and if he misses, put it right back in the hole. So he's fun to watch. Break it down for me now and tell me, how has this defense gotten so good? They are really good, Franz. I got some stats later in the show when Jeffrey gets on. I'll share with you about those. I'm sure you know them. How did they get so good? And the other thing you pointed out, I think a couple of times in your story and on air, is they just don't turn the ball over. One guy had another great night doing that. But everybody else was amazing. What's that stat you had? 86. Who was that? Was that
Xavier Lee has gone 86 minutes on the floor without turning the ball over.
Amazing. That's really amazing, man. It's incredible.
He is. I'm going to go out on a limb here and tell you, I think Florida's got the best guards in the country.
Really?
Period.
Well, they weren't any good 2 weeks ago.
Well, I know a lot of people have thought that, but I've watched how they've developed. And somebody brought this up, and I thought about it overnight, and I really agree with it. And that is Xavier Lee has Boogie. It's his team on the floor. Okay, when he's on there, that's his team. And Xavier Lee has adapted to the role of, I'm the secondary ball handler. Boogie's the main guy, but I'm still a great facilitator because, you know, he had 7 assists. He's had some big assist games, and he has freed up. His offense is getting better. He's scoring points. He doesn't have to have the ball in his hands, But when he has the ball in his hands, good things happen. And when you got two guys that can feed off each other like that, Boogie is a straight line driver who can get to the rim. I don't think there's a faster guard in the country.
I think you
Xavier,
said this is his team, you said, I believe, today, right?
Yep. Xavier Lee is a guy that has adjusted his role. And some would say it's a complementary role, but no, it's not. It is a main role. But you got to remember something. Last year, we had Walter Clayton, and Walter was the lead guard. That doesn't mean that Elijah Martin or Will Richard were secondary guys. It just means that everybody knew their role and adjusted to it.
Mm-hmm.
And when Walt went out of the game, Denzel Aberdeen or Elijah would run the point. We had guys that could do that. And this year we're coming up with that to the point now where even Urban Klajar will run the point on occasions. Not bad for a guy who I call him Lethal Weapon 3 because, he's hitting 40+% on his threes in SEC games. But
and it's the timing of it. They're coming in the first half when maybe they're just sort of need to get a little jump start, and he'll knock one or two down. And his timing of his threes are really amazing. Yeah, coming up in just a few minutes, special guest Matt McCall, who was a coach for Billy Donovan and, of course, went on to coach at Chattanooga and at Springfield, UMass. And he's now working for NBC. I want to get his take tonight on the Gators from his perspective. He does NBC, Sirius XM, and Field of 68.
Yeah.
So you know what the score, what the line is on Saturday for Kentucky?
I think Florida's like about 9.5 or 10-point favorite.
Try 11.5.
Is it really? Has it gone up that high?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't doubt it. The Gators are playing lights out. ESPN gives Florida a 79.8% chance to win the ball game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's pretty darn good, buddy.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And you gotta like you gotta like the way that they're approaching every ball game. I think, for lack of a better term, I'm going to call it a kill mentality. It's like they're coming out there and you get in their way, they're going to kill anything, stomp, kill, plunder, pillage, whatever you want to call it. Get in our way, and this is what's going to happen to you. And this was a great defensive team last year. This team may be better defensively. Right now on KenPom, they're like the number 5 team, I believe it is, defensively in the country. Over at Bart Torvik, who is another really, really great.
Who was that? He just popped out of nowhere in your column. Who was that?
He's a guy that does really, really good analytics. I mean, he's one of the best there is. He has Florida in adjusted defensive efficiency, number 3 in the country.
Now, what is that stat? I don't even know what that is about. What is that?
That's about how often you can get your stops, that you stop the other team from scoring. Dean Smith is the one who came up with this idea of points per possession. Nobody paid attention to it for years, but they started noticing that North Carolina teams always scored a lot of points. No matter what the personnel changes were, whatever, they scored. And they also were so good defensively. And you started looking at points per possession and the points per possession they held teams to. That's how you get efficiency. How many stops are you getting? How many one and dones are you getting? Todd calls it kills. A kill is when you get 3 straight stops. 3.
Yeah.
It's
like a turkey in bowling.
Yeah, exactly. Did you know that in I think it was the Alabama game. It may have been, or it may have been the game right after that. They got 8 kills in a game. I mean, nobody does that.
It's amazing.
That's 24 times. 24 times you hold a team to 1 or 0 shots.
Yep.
You hold them scoreless on 24 possessions. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Unless you happen to have a pretty brilliant coach. And Matt Dean today, who's well known and regarded in the basketball circles.
All right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Matt Dean today said, unquestionably, Florida has the best coach in the country.
Yeah, he did.
Golden.
Yeah, on Rod Brown's show in the morning. I just want to mention, and Brendan Martin, there's a comment from Matthew, I can't see his last name, Wolhoff. He says, best guards in the country? That's a bold statement. They have improved, but I am still concerned about their lack of consistent three-point shooting. Were you watching last night, by the way? And they were pretty consistent, especially Xavier. That's when they go against teams that have big men that can match up with their front line. Well, not many can. It could cause problems, especially in the tournament. Let me tell you what I saw last night. I mentioned this to you earlier. The conventional thinking on a zone, when people suddenly throw a zone at you, and they pack it in around you, that you need to have long distance shooting to get them out of the zone. I saw a play was so brilliant last night by Tommy Hoff. He got the pass and threw an alley-oop and boom, broke that zone up in a heartbeat. Oh, yeah. They got out of it right away. So, I mean, look, I mean, I was really impressed with the shooting of Xavier Lee, especially last night. And I know that's the wrap. He says he was at the game last night. Well, Matthew, did you not see Xavier Lee? Well, Franz said, go ahead. You weigh in on the three-point shooting. Maybe you won't take my word. Go ahead. Tell Matthew.
Here's what I'll tell you. Florida's averaging 86.3 points per game. 86.3. And how are they doing it? If you can't do that without great guard play, you say, well, it's all the big guys. Well, gosh, guess who's got to get the ball to the big guys? The guards. Guess who's not turning it over? The guards. And I'll say this once again. How many times have I got to tell people? Florida has made more three-point shots than their opponents. Maybe we've missed more as well, but the way we rebound, I think, buddy, I said it a few minutes ago. Maybe we ought to start giving the guy who misses the three an assist because our big guys put the ball back in.
Valid
this
point.
Team, there is not a team in the country with two guards that play better defense than these guys. And Urban Klajar, who I thought was a defensive last year, once we got deep into the tournament, he didn't get to play a lot because of the fact that even though he could shoot, he was a defensive liability. Well, he's no longer a defensive liability anymore. And then they bring off Isaiah Brown off the bench.
Wow, is he impressive?
And you want to talk about a defensive game changer as well.
Yeah, and talk about a three-point shooter.
Yeah, you got 4 guards who play exceptional defense, who are all 4 truly different skill sets. They don't turn the ball over. They get the ball to the right people and get the ball up the court faster than anybody else in the country.
Yeah.
Florida, let me just take a look at one thing. All
right, while you're doing that, let me go ahead and mention, we're expecting here any minute to get a hold of Matt McCall. He's on this one in. We're going to have him on the program, and then we got Jeffrey at the bottom of the hour, who's watching the women's game tonight, and then Lauren Meadows will weigh in a little after that, give us his take. This is a very good time right now with the basketball team playing so well, and whether they win it or not, they're very much in contention for the Final Four, and it's going to be an interesting March Madness. and you got the football team. And we talked Allie's interview last night with John Summerall, and she got more kudos to that. Number one, the job she did, but kudos for the coach for Summerall coming out and doing it and revealing some things, and I was really impressed with that. So anyway, here's Matthew's response. We'll get that, and then we got to do a commercial, and we got to get ready for Matt McCall, and we got to get ready for our guest. Lee was fantastic. I agree with Franz about the defense of the guards and their ball protection. Condon still seems a bit lost. Well, he's not a guard. He did turn it over. He turned it over quite a few times. Sevens, right?
He's had 7 turnovers, but I'll break his turnovers down to him. He had 7 turnovers, and I think only 2 of them were pretty legitimate turnovers. The others, he made a snap pass. I'll give you his first turnover was a snap pass, and it was a great pass, but Ruben wasn't expecting it. Ruben was going down the floor like this, and here comes a snap pass, boom, right by the ear. Here's the thing about Alex Condon. Alex Condon, for all the talk about, well, sometimes he turns it over and whatever like that. Alex Condon is averaging 3.6 assists per game. You know what Boogie averages? 3.8. You know what Xavier averages? 3.5. Tommy Hawk averages 2.1. He's done. He has games when he turns it over, but you got to remember something. When he gets the ball down low, 3 guys collapse on him. 3 guys collapse on him. And yet, despite the fact that 3 guys collapse on him, you look at some of the games he's had passing the basketball. I mean, I think Alex Condon I don't think he gets enough credit when he does something well, and I think he gets too much blame when he has a not
but we
so great
welcome
game.
Opinion of guys like Matthew, especially. He's an informed guy. He goes to the games. He pays attention. Now it's time for us to do this real quick as we tell you what the show is brought to you by and bring in our next guest. The show is brought to you by Meldon Law. We'll have Jeffrey on in just a minute, and we will we'll share with you the thoughts about that, all the things that Meldon Law can do. Meanwhile, let's go out to probably in the west coast of Florida where he is. If he's home now from his trip, that would be Matt McCall. What's up, Coach?
Franz Beard. What's going on, brother? How we doing, man?
Miss you, Matthew.
What you got going on right now? Look at that hat. Is that your new staple? You keep rocking that every time?
Oh, yeah. That's just trademark now.
People, it's funny. I had started wearing this thing because of a little bit of a pre-cancerous skin cancer issue. And I started wearing it when I went outside, and I wear it inside to some ball games. Now people come up to me at the O-Dome and they ask me, "Do you have a book I can buy from you?" So they say, "We saw the hat, so we knew it was you." So
that's the book right there in the top right. It's called The Golden Season, and we're going to make sure that Matt McCall's got his copy at some point in time. And in fact, I will, if you'll send me your address, I'll have Carlton send you one. It's a really good.
Would love a copy. Would love a copy, buddy, for sure.
Because it kind of gives you the up close and personal view of last year. Let's get right to this team. Boy, oh boy, impressive. No matter how you look at it, the numbers are unbelievable, and a guy like Chinilu is just a freak. I want to get we talked about it. I want to get your take about what you see in his team. How good are they? How good could they be?
Yeah, buddy, it's interesting because all year long I've been a little bit, just in terms of the guard play. Like, can they get back to a Final Four? With Boogie Flan, with Xavier Lee, they weren't playing great through times out, through the course of the season, but that front court was always showing up. It didn't matter. I've been saying it all year. Tommy Houck's SEC Player of the Year.
Yes, he is.
And make an argument for me. The only argument you have is Ruben Shinleyu. That's the only argument you have in terms of who should be SEC Player of the Year. But that front court, how big they are, how physical they are. And I give Coach Todd Golden a ton of credit just in terms of the schedule in the non-league. Playing that schedule. First game of the season, going out to Las Vegas, playing against Arizona, who just lost their first game this season against Kansas.
What a great
playing game. UConn, playing Duke. Like the schedule that they've played, Miami, Florida State, TCU, Providence, they've played a gauntlet. And I think last year, when you look at Florida's schedule, they didn't play very many people. And that helped their team catapult them during the SEC and the SEC tournament. It built them confidence. Coming off a national championship, losing a couple games, and Franz, and Buddy, you remember this, in 2007, we lost to Kansas out in Las Vegas. We lost to Florida State without Corey Brewer, who had mono. And then coming down the stretch of SEC play, we lost to Vanderbilt, we lost to Tennessee, and we lost to a depleted LSU team. But guess what those losses do? That adversity makes you better. And this non-league schedule for Florida has made this team better, and they are clicking on all cylinders. And BBN, I know it's coming in on Saturday. I don't like to call it the Exact Tech Center, in the O-Dome on Billy Donovan court. Let's just say Billy Donovan court. I know Kentucky's played better as late, but, man, this is going to be an electric environment on Saturday.
I think it's going to be a zoo, the kind of which we used to see when Kentucky came, when you were around. I got to ask a question for you, too. You were there, and you were there every day with Horford and Noah. I was sitting beside Billy when an SEC coach, who I will keep nameless because he seems like such an idiot now, told Billy, he says, "You'll be very lucky if Al Horford is a contributor by the time he's a junior and Noah is a complete disaster." I'm sitting there right there, and I'm looking at Billy, and Billy says, "I don't think he knows what we got." And, of course, you look what happened. But you were there every day with those guys. Now, dominant front court, because you had Chris Richards coming off the bench, and you had Spates as well there. You had size to come off the bench with, but Horford and Noah just dominated things. These guys, it's four guys. I mean, and can we really honestly compare the two front courts and at least declare them a wash? I mean, dead even.
Well, let's see what this guy's got to say, too, while we wait for that answer. This is Jeffrey Meldon, is Gator Hoopla, and here he is, the man, the myth, Jeffrey Meldon. Say hello to Matt McCall and the fans.
Jeffrey, good to see you, man.
Well, he's been
in the sun today, obviously, and then he also has been rooting home those Gator women who had a rough night in Oklahoma. But put that on hold for 1 second and let Matt finish answering the question that Franz asked. Go ahead.
Yeah, Franz. I mean, it's a great question. With obviously with Horford and Noah, you're talking about two NBA All-Stars. I mean, two guys, and Horford's still playing, which is amazing. I called the DePaul Creighton game last night for NBC, and after the game, got to my hotel room, and the Warriors were playing. I turned it on, and Horford's out there. It's unbelievable to see the career that he's had. So I think it's a little bit, to compare the two front courts, Chinleyu, his athleticism and also his ability to rebound the ball. But Horford and Noah were such good passers. And I don't think that gets talked about enough, how good they were at passing the basketball. But when you look at Tommy Houck, Chinleyu, and Condon, okay, the size up front, what does that remind you of? Corey Brewer, Joakim Noah, Al Horford, the size and the length. So when you're defending and you're guarding pick and rolls and you see those three guys out there, I think that's That's the comparable thing. Going into the season, I'm sitting there scratching my head saying, "Poof, I don't know, man. Tommy Houck at the 3. How's this going to work? How's the floor spacing? Do they have enough shooting out there on the perimeter to make this work?" No, Coach Golden knew what he was doing. It's working, and it's working at a high level. And that's credit to him. It's credit to his coaching staff. And then you see the run they're going on right now. It's a lot to do with the play of Boogie Flan. He's like, okay, I don't need to be the alpha. I need to go out there and defend at a high level. I need to move it. I need to share it. I need to pass it. And I have to be that dog on the defensive end of the floor. And if Xavier Lee can just be serviceable to where teams guard him as a threat from behind the three-point line. Last night against Georgia, he was terrific. And then Clavsar coming off the bench. He spaces the floor. He shoots it. It's I didn't going into conference play. I'm like, I don't know if they can go back to back. Now, I think they can definitely go back to back.
Does Clavsar remind you of Humpers?
Oh, man, you can't. I mean, the guy was the all-time leader in three-point shooting in the NCAA tournament. He's not on that level yet. He's not on that. I mean, pull up the percentages from behind the three-point line, Franz.
41%.
I don't think, but Lee, that guy, he's got to make a few more before I put him on the same category as Lee Humphrey.
Well, nobody knows this basketball team better than Jeffrey. They just had him over at the house the other night, had dinner, Patricia and whatever, and he's told me some stories about them. They knows him personally. And I love the stories like Urban Clavsar, which you told me about it, his parents and about his background. Can you share any of that at all, Jeffrey? Because you know these guys they come to your house all the time.
No, I'll tell you, we had a blast for Super Bowl Sunday. We had the basketball team and we had a huge, our backyard, buddy.
Oh yeah.
So instead of having the projector screen, we went big time. And we had the LED screen come in. We had a whole crew come in and set it up. And everybody's all over the yard. And you could see this. It was like a 14-foot wide LED screen. So it was huge. So everybody's watching the Super Bowl. And Olivier Rioux, Ollie sits down in a chair about 20 feet in front of this big screen, and nobody could see anything because when he sits down,
7'8".
So somebody came up and said, "Ollie, is there any way you can move over on the
down in front, Ollie?"
Gosh.
So, but it was, you know what? Everybody, it's remarkable the way the guys hang out and hang together. And when they're together socially, they're all joking around and having a great time. And I consider myself very fortunate because I get to know them in a setting that 3 years ago was illegal. I would have been arrested for 142 violations. And it's like, the NCAA is the stupidest friggin' organization in the world. They could have solved the whole NIL problem 30 years ago when Steve Spurrier said we got to give the players a little bit of money and they're working their butts off, right? And so it was evidence to me that the rules to begin with were stupid, and I'm glad that they changed. Although there's disruption right now, I think it will get worked out. I don't know exactly how it'll wind up, but something like a pro basketball model. They'll have something set up, and there'll be salary caps and stuff like that, maybe. But anyhow, the team is very unified.
They like playing with each other, don't they?
100%.
Yeah.
You can see it.
They're friends. And you know how when some teams will get down when a player screws up, 2 or 3 times in a row, and they, he's down. this team rallies around a player if they're down a little bit and tries to pump them up. And I think it shows in the resilience of the team. So when the other night, when Georgia started chipping away and they got down to 9 points or whatever it was, the
2 threes, boom, boom.
boom, boom. But they stuck together. That when you have the team resilience and the team is supporting each other, and everybody knows that each other has their back, it makes a difference when you get into stressful situations.
Let me take a second, but take advantage of Matt for a second, because we talk about this every night, every week, and we're pretty close to Franz there all the time. He's done this wonderful book, and he's lived with the team. And Jeffrey has. I'm further away from it, but I watch every second I can and read everything. Matt does that from a distance, so far. He sees games like we saw with Kansas and Arizona the other night. Wow. He sees that the Michigan team is all of a sudden looking really good. He has a little bit of perspective calling the games for NBC, although he does bleed orange and blue. Tell us, Matt, are we overlooking something? Are we being too optimistic? Do we need to get back, pump the brakes a little, or what?
Buddy, I don't think so. And again, I think the job that Coach Golden is doing, he's a basketball junkie. And when you think about it, just in terms of, he knew what he was doing in terms of the non-league schedule. And here's the other thing I'll say. The term swagger gets thrown around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Golden has it. And if you're going to be successful in the SEC, you better have it. You better have it. If you look at when he got hired 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever it was, Matt McMahon gets hired at LSU, super nice guy. Lamont Paris gets hired at South Carolina, super nice guy. Todd Golden gets hired at the University of Florida. Who has the most swagger out of all three of those guys? You have to have it in this league. You just have to. You're dealing with sharks. You're dealing with John Calipari. You're dealing with, Kentucky and BBN. You're dealing with Rick Barnes, who's won 1 million games. At that point in time, you're dealing with Bruce Pearl, who we're not dealing with anymore. But you have to have a level of swagger and confidence in yourself in this league, and he has it. And I think, I'll say it again, the non-league schedule has prepared this Florida team. Because with what they lost, I mean, Will Richard is snapping passes to Steph Curry, who he's not the GOAT. To me, MJ's the GOAT. LeBron's up there, if you want to say that, Kobe, everything. It's Steph Curry. He's in the lineup with the guy. Elijah Martin's in the all, rookie game or whatever for the G League on the NBA All-Star Weekend. And then Walter Clayton Jr., that's 3 big losses. I mean, that's huge.
Plus,
and they're dominating teams in the SEC right now.
We lost Denzel Aberdeen.
Aberdeen. You're going to see him in your building.
Yeah. No, you know what, Matt, when we lost Denzel, people didn't realize how big a loss that was, because it created a huge gap in the continuity in the backcourt.
Yeah, I did. I liked him. He was one of my favorite players. I was brokenhearted that he left. But I got to tell you, this team seems to be able to absorb losses like that, Franz.
Here's what I like about what Todd does, and I've seen it happen for 3 straight years. People don't realize in 2024, Florida could have made maybe the Elite 8 if Longton doesn't fracture his leg. Florida would have destroyed Auburn in that SEC championship game. And I think that having to play immediately thereafter with the shock of losing your starting center, I think that affected them. But I think if Longton is healthy, I don't doubt for a second that they don't make the Elite 8 that year. Last year, again, Matt, you were great about pointing out the fact they had an easy schedule that built up, and that Auburn game was the turning point game. This year,
Without Elijah Martin, France, without Elijah Martin.
Yeah.
He didn't play in the game.
Exactly. This year, they get to within a day of the exact same turning point day. And you look what happens with the Gators. This guy knows how to bring a team along, is my point. And I know there's a lot of great coaches out there. There really are. But I don't see too many of them that, particularly at his age, I don't see anybody at his age who has really mastered that idea of bringing a team along and getting them to peak at the right time. And that is a skill that Billy Donovan could do it, but Billy by the time we noticed Billy was doing it, Billy had already been a head coach for 12, 15 years.
Yeah.
This guy does it.
But here's the other thing with Coach Donovan, and let's separate the two in terms of Coach Golden. Coach Donovan was such a genius in terms of molding a team, being a young head coach. He had a swagger when he got the job back in 1995, 96, whatever it was. But we never saw him try to get the crowd into it, try to do the Gator chomp. But you know what? Nowadays, you got to do it. You have to do it. And that's exactly what Coach Golden's doing. I love it when he starts doing the chomp. I'm chomping with him. I mean, I'm not allowed to say that now that I have to be biased now that I'm on the media side of things. But when he tries to get the crowd into it and starts doing the Gator chomp, man, you love to see it. You love to see it.
Yeah, it's true. Now I'm going to do this real quick. I have to do this
basketball, and
it is
a job.
Yeah, I want to say a word about his swagger too, and I want to say this first about the commercial, about the sponsor, because he's a real stickler. It's I got to make sure I do it right. He'll drop me. His name is Jeffrey Meldon, and the company is Meldon Law. We talk about him on the air, off the air, on the commercial. Nobody does it better than Jeffrey. He bleeds orange and blue. He also has a pretty good law firm located, of course, now in North Central Florida and South Florida. I believe he's up to 50 attorneys. He'll get you right back to you on if you can't find the right attorney and where he's got to find you one. He's also nobody does more for the Gators. Nobody does more for the Gators than Jeffrey. The promotion they put on, Matt, I don't know if you saw it or not. I know Lauren did because he got one. These championship ring replicas they put out, unbelievable. Do you have yours, Lauren, anywhere?
Yeah, I got mine. Hold on.
Yeah, there it is, right there.
Oh, okay.
This is a replica, man.
Over there.
It looks like the real thing. When I got one, I got a picture. I said, "Is this the real one?" I said, "No, that's a replica." That was done by this man right here, Jeffrey Meldon. Nobody does more. So remember, they are lawyers. It's Meldon Law. If you need their help, they won't back down.
Hey, let me tell you something about Jeffrey that really.
Let me finish this thought. You hold that. Let me just finish this thought because I want to get back to the swagger. I've been waiting to say this. This is swagger, I think, and I love this. And you know him well, Jeffrey. When he found out that Alabama was going to play, what's his name, Diabaco, whatever.
Bediako.
Yeah. And at first, he said, "I don't care, we'll beat them anyway." Well, bulletin board material, man. I'm telling you what. He put bullet. He didn't care, and so he told his team, "Okay, I said it. Now you guys back it up." He put it on them, and boy, did they ever. So that's swagger, in my opinion. Yeah. So a couple other things real fast. I'll turn it back over. You guys can chat, you and Lauren and Matt before Matt has to go. I want to say that these are some. I'm not a numbers guy, but when you think about this, Flan and Lee combined for 33 points, and we're 4 for 12 for 3. Lee had 7 assists. Gators are now on a 4 straight by an average of 27.3 points a game. Todd Golden is now 8-1 versus former head coach Mike White. And Florida's defense, this is the thing we should talk more about. As far as defense, the last 4 games held South Carolina to 48 points and 0.69 points per possession. Held Alabama 15 points below its average. Held Texas A&M to 67 points on 30.6% shooting. Held Georgia to 66 points on 34.7, their lowest score of the year. What in the world does that tell us there, guys? Matt, what does that tell you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is you go back to his first year as the head coach of the University of Florida. They could score points. Offense was not the problem. Defense was the problem. And what did he do? And him and his staff, and I keep going back to their staff in terms of addressing the issues on the defensive end of the floor, they bring in Shinleyu. They bring in a 3-and-D guy like Elijah Martin, changes their defense. And they go from one of the worst defensive teams in the SEC to one of the best, if not the best. And they had the SEC Defensive Player of the Year, if not the National Defensive Player of the Year this season in Shinleyu. That's the transfer portal. That's evaluating. That's it, knowing exactly what your program needs. And that's a credit to the staff because it's okay, we go through year one. We know we can score. We're running the right stuff. We're executing on the offensive end of the floor, but we're bad on defense. What do we got to do? We need size. We need athleticism. We need guys that can guard pick and rolls. That's what we need. And that's exactly what they did. And that's coaching. Like that is coaching. Like we can sit here and draw up as many plays as we can. We can X and O here, left and right. And, I'm a Spurrier guy. I grew up the Spurrier families. The ball plays. But, man, evaluating your roster and knowing what you don't have, that's what this team has done. And that's why they're having so much success. And that's coaching, and that's a credit to Coach Todd Golden.
Great point, Lauren.
Yeah, I think that, obviously a great defensive team. But when you look at, the thing that's impressed me the most is the last 2 years, this is a team that cherishes the basketball. And what I mean by that is you look at, facing Buckyball the other night. I mean, Boogie Flan has 2 turnovers. And against that pressure, to be calm, to be able to control tempo and things like that. And that allows them to, when they're getting efficient possessions, to reset the defense and allows them to play at a high level. So, I think while everybody looks at the box score from a points perspective, I think you got to give, and you guys may have covered it before I came on, but, the ability for this team to cherish the basketball. And I'm not much to talk much about the women's team, but I think that's one of their biggest issues is that right now they have a basketball team that doesn't cherish the basketball. Opposite look to the men's team, and over the last 4 games, not only playing basketball at a high clip and playing defense, but the ability to eliminate turnovers,
Not
cherish the
away,
basketball.
I think Franz brought that point up a minute ago. How many 40? What was that stat you get on 46? Who was that? Boogie Flan.
Boogie Flan, yeah.
46.
Well, you look at Xavier Lee.
turnover.
Xavier Lee doesn't turn the ball over. Boogie Flan gives you a defensive stopper who's the fastest guard from one end of the court to the other in the country, bar none. There's some quick guards out there, but with the ball in his hand, dribbling the ball, he'll outrun people who are running the regular sprints.
Well, remember I told you a New York point guard would rather give up his girl than his dribble. Matt, you know that. So that's
Especially
for real.
From Bronx.
If I mean those guys that are from the 5 boroughs, they take that handle serious. So I knew, once he got acclimated that he was going to be able to play that position. I mean, and the shots will fall. My only concern is, they're going to get, what I call guffed in the chest by a team like a Houston or a Texas Tech, or when they line up against Arizona again. Will there be a change? Will they remember what that looked like? And I always think about it, the one cool thing, I was talking to somebody about this today, is once they get to the second weekend, it's going to feel like home. For a lot of these other schools that haven't been there for a while, they're going to be able to lean on that experience of the second weekend and getting to that next level. that I think a lot of teams are going to be missing. So, that's
I
another
don't
point
know.
as well.
Jeffrey, can they take the hit, Jeffrey?
Yeah, look, buddy, the turning point for this season was after the Auburn loss. They had to go play at South Carolina. And when they got in, they only had one day, really, Monday, to practice. That was the most ferocious practice that the Gators have had all season. And it was basically Todd Golden going, do you guys want to give us a chance to reach greatness this year? We're going to have to do something incredible. And they worked their butts off, and they got the mentality back. Some coaches might have handled it different, but the loss to Auburn was
changed things.
A turning point for the game.
Great loss, actually.
I liked what has happened since the Auburn game defensively. And what I really like about what I've seen defensively is how quickly they are getting the ball up the court. They get the stop and they get the ball up the court. They're getting so many points before the other team can even think about getting a set defense. And I think that's what separates this team probably that as much as anything in the entire country, other than the fact I do believe these guards, when you combine the defensive skills, the offensive skills, are not turning it over. If they hit 30%, it's lights out. It's lights out because you look at what they can do defensively. Xavier Lee doesn't get near enough credit for what he does defensively. We notice Boogie gets a lot of steals. Xavier Lee, I probably gets as many tipped balls as anybody in the SEC. He's got a hand on stuff. He alters the way the ball moves around the rim. They transform, though. They go transition from defense to offense faster than any Florida team I've ever seen.
Yeah, let me get some of these guys out of here. I've held them a long time. I know, Matt, I appreciate you being on, buddy. I hope you'll do it again. Yeah. Great stuff. Again, tell folks where they can watch you and see you at NBC. We don't get as much down here, but
buddy, first of all, thank you for having me on. Always grateful to do it. Again, appreciate you for organizing the Wayne McCall Character Award, too.
Pleasure, my honor.
Appreciate that. My father, nobody loved the Gators more.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Meldon, I'm just going to say this. My dad loved the Gators more than you as far as an attorney. I believe that. But, buddy, thank you for doing that. You, Randy Briggs, and everybody. That was special to me and my family. Yeah. So we miss them every day.
Yeah.
But appreciate you for doing that. But you can see me on Tuesday night, NBC. We got a big one. We got a former Florida Gator assistant coach in Dusty May. He's taking his team to Purdue. I will be up at Mackey Arena. I've never been to Mackey. I heard it's an unbelievable environment. I'm excited to be up there. We got a pregame show for 30 minutes. Me and Jordan Cornette. Jordan Cornette's the all-time leading shot blocker at Notre Dame. He's my partner at NBC. So we've got a pregame show that we'll do there. Looking forward to seeing Dusty. What a job he's doing with the Wolverines. Really impressive to see. So that's where you'll see me next is Michigan-Purdue Tuesday night, 7 o'clock Eastern time, NBC and Peacock.
Matt, come back.
Hugs to your mom, too, by the way.
Thank you, Franz. Appreciate
your mom,
it. Yeah, you know what? She was they honored our team at Chattanooga this past weekend.
Oh, nice.
Which was amazing. 10-year reunion of the NCAA tournament team. Me, my wife, Allison, my 3 kids were there. My mom came with us. So, Franz, appreciate you mentioning her. But, yeah, she's doing good.
Lady.
And, it was awesome.
Wonderful lady. Wonderful lady.
Thank you very much, man. We'll do it again, okay?
Yeah, you got it, buddy. Anytime.
Thank you very much. All right.
I knew his father, and he was a great man.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Appreciate you. He was a good man.
Great.
He was. Yeah. Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Sure he was.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Matt. All right, real fast. Before we get out of here, I want to get Jeffrey. I know you got up to some no good. You got something going on. What's your next big thing?
Well, yeah, I got to tell you this story. We only got a minute left.
Yeah, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
My son and I, we went and visited a client today, and on the way back, he said, "Dad, I got to stop and pick up a new suit." And we're going through a Cal. I said, "Where are you going?" He says, "I'm going to Grinders."
Right. Right.
And I hadn't been in Grinders in 30 years, and I
know.
And I go, I got to start shopping there. What is it?
Yeah, I need to check it out too. I need some shirts. I got to get down there.
They've changed owners now.
Before we go, I need to say something too.
Okay,
about
go
Jeffrey. They have the putt, okay, for $55,000. Then Jeffrey put the cash up for it. The girl missed the putt by it hit the
guy
corner.
made it an overnight before last. You see that? He made it.
I've never seen. Jeffrey was pulling. It's his 55 grand that's about to go, and
he's got insurance.
He is living and dying with that putt.
I wanted him to make it. It would have been ESPN top 10. I wanted it.
But I don't think I think you were more disappointed than she was that she missed it.
He's got a lot going on. Lauren, what you got going on, Lauren?
That says a lot, though. When you're standing to lose $55,000 and you're sitting there and you're heartbroken because you didn't get to write the check.
There you go. Didn't get to give it away. That's right. Yeah, I love what you do, Jeffrey. Lauren, what you got going on here now?
Be traveling soon, but gonna actually hopefully go sit down and work on as spring ball approaches, kind of get back into my football mode. And the top 5 things that John Summerall needs to make sure it gets taken care of during spring practice. So,
all right. Let me ask Jeffrey. Great. Let me ask, going off the air with this, was who's your favorite player? Are you willing to say it, guys? And Jeffrey, start with you. And who you get most excited about when he's got the ball or playing defense?
Chinyelu.
Okay. Yeah, he's a good one.
Yeah.
I got Tommy Haupt. I just love watching him play. It's tough not to. He does it all. Lauren, who you got?
I'm split between Boogie and Tommy Hauck. I seeing Hauck grow up and develop and go from a guy that shot Franz almost 40% from the free throw line to making big free throws in close games and just being probably the best all around player right now in the SEC. I'm a big Hauck and Boogie fan.
All right, Franz, you got 15 seconds. Who's yours?
I like what Ruben Chinyelu has done. He is the heart and soul of this team. And all you got to do is look in the pictures that I got of him in the locker room in San Antonio. He's sitting there holding that big cigar in his hand and everything, holding court. But you watch, he's willing to take on all the booze and everything like that. He is the lightning rod that keeps the rest of the team from getting chewed out, booed out, and all the other stuff. And
all right, great job, Franz. Great job, Jeffrey, for you, and also Lauren. Thanks for dropping by. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you having
me. Thank you very much.
Great show.
We'll say good night to you, and we're going to tell you about our friends at Titan MRI and Imaging. They have 3 locations to serve you. 2 in Gainesville with the Park Avenue location, now Millennium Center. 1 in Lake City, serving all of Columbia County and Valdosta, and soon coming to Ocala if they're not already there. Titan MRI Imaging offers the same great customer service. They do something that very few do. Number 1, if you can't make an afternoon appointment, they'll book you a night appointment. They're going to bring somebody in special for you. It's you, the customer. They always want you to feel like you're important. They accept insurance, and you can go through their convenient self-pay options if you want to. They offer MRIs, CAT scans, X-rays, ultrasounds. Their large MRI machines make your patient comfort a lot better. You don't have to get claustrophobic going in those small little tubes. Coming to Ocala soon. Better serve Marion County and surrounding area. Titan MRI, it's your choice. Thanks to our guest tonight. Good show. Good to see Matt again. And we hope that you folks will be around this weekend. It's going to be an interesting Saturday. It's going to be quite a week for the Florida Gators for sure. And they are hot right now. And it's fun to watch it. It's fun when you got a football team that's on the move in the right direction. And also your basketball team is competing. So stay tuned. We'll be back with you this weekend. And don't forget, subscribe to Gator Bait Media.